Hello, and welcome to the Venue Coach Blueprint for Owners. I'm Kyle Labar. This podcast is all about helping you fill your wedding venue with more bookings, earn more from each one, and keep your customers happy for a long time. We'll also talk about some tough times and big lessons that I've learned along the way. Let's dive in together and make your venue the best spot for weddings. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Venue Coach, and today's episode is about corporate events. When we first bought our venue, we had a list of companies that had done corporate parties at the venue in the past, but those relationships were it's not that they were bad relationships by any means, just that they weren't nurtured, and so we had to start nurturing them. We reached out to a lot of the local businesses, and our venue is shares a town with a few bigger plants. So I won't name names, but we have a number of food processing plants as well as construction, and we have some great small businesses. There's schools in the area, that sort of thing, and so we have since built that out. We have been able to interact with finance professionals, with local branches of national offices, and we have been able to just get lots of great corporate players to come out to our venue. So what it really takes, I mean, it's B2B sales. It's the same thing as sales is sales. It's convincing somebody to make the decision that they're hoping to make with you, provided that you have the best solution that they need. And so, as a sales professional, your goal should be to find them what they need, whether that's with you or with somebody else. Not in the sense of like, hey, let me help you actively find a competitor who's going to do this, but in the sense that if they find a better option, then you're supportive and you're glad that they were able to find what they needed. So, the thing that we do is, like I said, we started calling just local businesses. Now we're in a small town, so it's not like we're in downtown Dallas where we have, hundreds or thousands of businesses that we could reach out to and generate relationships with. But in our small towns, we're able to have ongoing relationships with them. So we have had a number of local businesses come back to our venue year over year to have their events. With the local high school, we've done their football banquet every year. We started doing their soccer banquet, and we've done proms with local schools. So I know that those are like schools, not quite corporate, but it's also not a wedding either. So usually those banquets are on a weeknight. Those are really nice to get coming in. The nice thing about corporate or even schools is the budget, and if you fall within the budget and people like you, then you have no problem getting the approval. So that's the big thing, is you got to be likable, which I hope that you are, because why else are you in the business if not to provide excellent service and that sort of thing. But at both of our venues, we have repeat corporate clients that come through, some on a quarterly basis, some on an annual basis. And I know one of my clients, actually, they have a church that comes out and uses their space every Sunday morning. And it doesn't impact any of their other weddings, so they could have a wedding that night as well and then get doubly paid for that day in that space. So that's the really cool thing about corporate. They typically don't pay as much as weddings. However, they fill the gap on the days that you typically wouldn't see booked, and they also keep coming back. So while it comes down to this lifetime value, LTV. For the wedding industry, a lot of events, the LTV is what you charge that one time. Those clients, the bride and groom, you probably, I mean, there are instances where they come back maybe 5, 10 years later, sort of thing, to do a reunion, or not a reunion, an anniversary party at your venue. But typically they're not coming back themselves. They just aren't. We've had brides, however, who have booked our venue for their corporate event, and so that was really cool, where they came out and it was actually their job that came out because of such a great time that they had with us. So you might see that type of thing, but as far as the client themselves, we aren't usually on the wedding side seeing a return to do another wedding essentially, or you might get to where you get birthdays or a baby showers coming out to your venue, that sort of thing. And so you can definitely strive for those, but those, in my experience at our venues, those have been few and far between. So the lifetime value of your weddings is what you make on that 1 day event. So in a hypothetical, let's say you charge $5,000 for everything at your wedding, for your weddings. And so your LTV is $5,000. Contrast that with a corporate event. Let's say you charge an hourly for corporate events of, let's just throw out $250 an hour. And they book for 4 hours every time, but they come out once a quarter. So every quarter you're going to make $1,000. So that's $4,000 a year. And if you keep them happy, then they're going to continue doing that for years potentially. So if you get a good relationship like that, that's $4,000 a year. The LTV on that client, let's say they do that for 3 years, the LTV on that client is going to be $12,000 versus the five of just doing a wedding. Now, corporate events aren't going to be like seeing that, that's the potential that they have. So seeing the potential there, and they fill dates that you otherwise weren't going to fill, because typically it's like a Friday night, it could be a Thursday night or something like that, just depends. But you're going to see dates that otherwise you wouldn't fill usually. Or it could be in the dead of winter for like a holiday or a Christmas party, and you may not be very busy during those times anyway. So again, it's a date that you're not going to fill. And so let's go on an annual basis. Let's say you charge $250 again, but you're charging annually, but every year they have their Christmas party with you. Well, that's $1,000 every year. It's minimal stress. It's only for 4 hours. And so if you're basing it based off of the time spent at your venue, typically a full wedding is going to be 12 hours or so. So they're going there for a third of the time. Yes, they're 1/5 of the price, and so time per time, it's less stressful, less to deal with. Corporate is typically easier to deal with in general. They're going to get drinks, that sort of thing, probably. So you're still making a bit extra. But at the end of the day, if they keep coming back year over year, it'd take 4 years to equal the LTV, 5 years to equal the LTV of a wedding in that scenario. So maybe you'd want to charge a little bit more and say 1,500 or 2,000, $500 an hour, sort of thing. If you did something like that, you got the LTV down to just 2 or 3 times that they come back. Now you're having a really good relationship with them, and that individual client is worth more than one of your couples. So the point that I'm making here isn't to just, oh, I'm only doing corporate events. Now you could do that if that's how you're situated, if you're in the spot for that. But rather, what I'm saying is if you generate these good relationships and you maintain them with local businesses to where it makes it easy for them to just keep coming back to you, they're going to be more valuable. And you might have 4 or 5 of them. You might have two. You might get 10. I like that number. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But what I do know is even if you had one, that one is going to be worth more than an individual wedding. And so seeking after those types of relationships and those types of clients should be part of your outreach. And that certainly is part of our outreach when we are trying to fill dates and that sort of thing. So we reach out to local businesses, we work on getting them hosting their events with us, and then we do our best to just blow them away with the service that we provide. and make sure that they want to keep coming back to us year over year. So hopefully this has added a little bit to your wheelhouse for your outreach campaigns, for your sales, and for your managers to focus on. Try, if you're in a downtime, you don't have a lot of tours, call local businesses. See about getting them on the schedule for holiday parties, corporate events, sales trainings, um, anything like that. Banquets for the schools, proms, even if you're open to that sort of thing, or if it fits with your aesthetic or your desires at your venue. But that has been a game changer for us, and it gives some assurity and some certainty as well, because you're getting recurring revenue. So hope this was helpful for you. If it was, please subscribe, like, drop a comment. Let me know what ways that you have, or other types of entities that you like to reach out to fill your calendar up on a repeat basis. And with that, I will catch you in the next one.